Hey everybody, it's April, and today I want to talk about 5 common mistakes that people make when they plank. So we're going to get started, and I'm probably going to stay on my forearms the whole time. We'll just see how it goes. So we'll set things up, and then I'll talk a little bit about what people do wrong when they're planking. So wrap your hands around your biceps so you know you have the right distance between your arms. Forearms come out in front of you. You can interlace fingers if you like. That's what I usually like to do. I think it makes it a little easier. Pull your shoulders down your back, then lift your upper back, lift your chest, pull in your belly, come up on your toes, shift your weight forward slightly. The timer has begun. Woo, here we go. So, first mistake people make is with their shoulders. I know I had a guy at work one day who was talking to me about plank, and he set his up and he had his shoulder blades pulling together. Look how that changes my whole body and my whole line when I do that. So you're wanting to separate your shoulders. Think about broadening your upper back. You're almost rounding, not quite. You're just making it nice and flat so your shoulders are separated, not pulling your shoulder blades together. We're at 33 seconds, by the way. And you'll notice when I let my shoulder blades come together, that let my hips drop, which is actually number 2. Letting hips drop is a big no-no. That puts all kinds of pressure in your lower back. So this is how you correct that, is by engaging your abdominal muscles, actively pulling in your belly. Think about, you're pretending like you're trying to pull your navel through your spinal cord. We're at 1 minute, by the way. So you have to keep doing that, or your hips will start to drop. And the problem is, if you let your hips drop, that's going to put a lot of pressure on your lower back, and it totally negates what you're trying to do with your plank. If you're doing plank correctly, it should actually strengthen your lower back and help prevent lower back pain. But if you're letting your hips drop, then you're losing that, and you're going to put pressure on your back and 130, and it's going to cause, like I said, it will cause problems with your lower back. The other, number 3, is also with your hips, but it's having hips up too high. So this isn't necessarily hurting anything, but you've lost your plank when you do that. And you're doing more of a dolphin pose than a plank. But it's easier to let your hips come up. So chances are, if you're planking and it feels easy, that's one of the things you're doing wrong, is with your hips up too high. So another thing, number 4, that people do wrong is with their neck. Most of the time, or a lot of times, I see people tucking their chin to their chest. And I'm not sure what they're looking at and how that happens, but it seems to be a natural tendency. You want your gaze to be right out in front of your fingertips or your knuckles, whatever, if you have your hands in front of you or knuckles and fingers interlaced. And at the same token, you don't want your neck up too high. So you're trying to keep that nice long spine. This is what's working on your nice posture, keeping that nice long line in your body. And that's something that's very important, is to keep your neck neutral. Okay, so number 5 is not checking back in. So what I mean by that is, as people are planking, we're at 3 minutes, but oh wait, not quite, almost 3 minutes. And what I mean by that is, you've got it set up, you're doing great, and the next thing you know, your hips are dropping a little bit, or your hips have started to come up, or you started looking down. And so you have to be constantly aware while you're planking of what your body is doing. So there's a lot going on. It doesn't look like it. It looks like I'm just kind of hanging out here, but I'm not. I am working, pressing into the floor, pulling in my belly, tightening up my glutes. So everything is active. We're at 3:37, and we're getting close. So these are things to keep in mind, and this is also a reason why I encourage everyone to have their camera on while they're planking, so you can see what your plank looks like. You know, in case you don't have anybody nearby who can help you with that, it's very helpful to just look on your own. We're at 4 minutes. I'm going to switch to side plank. So if you switch to side plank, this is the other thing. When you switch, make sure you come into good form. So I'm stacking my feet. You could bring your top foot in front of you if you like. Stay lifted out of that bottom shoulder. Keep pulling in your belly, reaching your top arm to the sky, lifting your hips. So this is where you really get the work from your side plank, is working your obliques, which is down the sides of your abs. Okay, 430, I'm switching sides, flipping my hair. Again, you can stack your feet, bring your top foot in front of you, actively lift your hips. So this is, I could even throw in more mistakes people make when they switch their plank. A lot of times they don't come back to a good plank, or they spend so much time switching that they're not holding. Remember, your goal is to hold a plank. You don't necessarily, we're at 5 minutes. You don't necessarily have to hold it for 5 minutes like I do, but you should make it your goal to hold for a minute. Maybe you work up to 2. But the thing is, you have to have good form when you're doing it. We're at 5:15 already. Yay. So hopefully you will watch your plank. Make sure you're not making any of these mistakes while you're planking. And you're going to get so much more out of it if you're doing your plank correctly and consistently. Have a great day.